I've been watching anime for most of my life. If I go by my Anime Planet account, I've completed well over 1,500 anime series. Those anime spawn bits and pieces or large amounts of every genre you could imagine. And from TV series to OVAs to ONAs to specials and movies. However, the one I always come back to is shonen, specifically shonen battle anime. That's right, I'm a shonen tard through and through. Many of my favorite anime are shonen battle anime like Yu Yu Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter 2011, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, The Seven Deadly Sins, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and the Dragon Ball franchise, among others. I love complex magic systems and heart-pounding action that gets my adrenaline pumping, my heart racing, and my blood flowing. And thankfully, shonen battle anime aren't the only source of these elements. In the past decade plus, the Isekai genre has blossomed. Well, it's existed for much longer. In fact, you might even be able to trace it back to the 90s or earlier. It was never quite as popular as it has been lately. Thankfully, these are also incredible sources of the high-octane battles that I search for, with the participants often being the main characters that are incredibly overpowered. Anime like Sword Art Online, Overlord, Log Horizon, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And the list goes on. These characters also often get criticized for being overpowered, and I've never understood the criticism. That's why I want to make a declaration that these characters deserve just as much respect and consideration as any other character that pops up throughout anime and manga. Escapism is actually a pretty complex idea, with both positives and negatives. However, I normally like to refer to it positively, as a natural part of media consumption. Everybody needs to be able to escape from the real world for a while, no matter how good or stressful that your life is. And as long as you're able to return from the fantasy world that you've absorbed yourself in, then there's nothing unhealthy about it at all. I watch anime for lots of reasons, but this is one of them. After a long, stressful day at work, sometimes I just want to watch a character who can't be defeated beat the hell out of everyone in his path, like a force of nature and destruction. But that's not the only reason. It's merely the surface level reason for this argument. Although one could say that it's the main reason, and even in a show that has multiple reasons, it's usually one of them. Watching Kirito get sliced by several blades and come out of it unscathed, or Rimuru Tempest single-handedly slaughter an entire army of enemy soldiers, or Ainz Ul Gon first mentally destroying, then physically destroying a bitchy opponent who was causing him and his allies trouble without any effort, or Saitama literally killing every single one of his opponents with a single punch, or Goku using his Kamehameha wave to destroy his enemy for the upteenth time. As long as the animation is great and the music is exhilarating, it almost always works. But there's more to it than just that. There seems to be this belief that if the protagonist doesn't struggle in his battles, the story is inherently going to be boring and unwatchable. This is demonstrably false. While an understandable thing to think, it can certainly turn out that way. There's many things that a writer can do to remedy this problem. In Overlord, Ainz Ul Gon almost never loses a battle. Scratch that, he almost never comes close. He is so damn overpowered that it's a wonder his enemies haven't just given up by this point. It kind of makes them seem extremely stupid in a way if you think about it. What carries the story of Overlord is the interesting world building, the political maneuverings, and the unique, engaging characters. For the second point, while Ainz is overpowered in the literal sense, he's also overpowered in the intellectual sense. And it's a lot of fun just to see him physically overpower his enemies, but also outsmart them. Especially when he's pretending to be an adventurer rather than the Lynch King that he really is. And he's going up against the entire armies and nations. We always know how the individual battles or full-on wars that he takes part in are going to turn out. The fun is to see how he's going to get to that point. And that means it should also be said that it's usually more interesting to see him strategically destroy an army, because those large-scale battles often involve much more careful planning rather than just brute force. On the second point, the characters in Overlord are so fun and endearing. Of course there's Ainz himself, who's just such a joy to watch. He's so smug and confident, but why shouldn't he be? Like I said before, he is literally the Lynch King, who can do basically whatever he wants. But he has his funny side as well, especially when it comes to his inner thoughts, in which his voice is always different from his outer one, reverting back to the voice he had before he was trapped in the MMO. But he's not the only character. Albedo, Shaltir, and the rest of the Guardians are filled to the brim with personality, and complement him perfectly. The ways they interact with each other, other characters, and the world around them is part of the fun of Overlord, on top of the incredible action. Log Horizon goes in a bit of a different direction. Shiroe isn't overpowered in the physical sense. He's decently powerful, but his greatest asset is his immense intelligence. And as far as intelligent characters in anime are concerned, he could definitely be considered overpowered. While he does have magic power, his physical strength is definitely lacking, and he makes up for it by devising complex, intricate strategies that almost always allows him to come out on top. In the Log Horizon series, it seems like nobody is capable of even coming close to his strategic intelligence, which is an attribute that I'd absolutely consider to be overpowered. Rimuru Tempest was reincarnated in another world as a slime creature, which already puts him as more powerful than most of his opponents, or at the very least invulnerable. Plus, with his ability to absorb creatures and not only turn them over to his side, but get even stronger from them, there's virtually no limits to how powerful he can become. He's probably one of the few that I think could actually defeat Ainz Ulgon, if I'm being serious. And then, at the end of Season 2, Part 1, he single-handedly murders an entire army of enemy soldiers, which allows him to become a demon lord. This, in addition to probably a large plethora of other skills. And a general power upgrade gives him the ability to revive his dead comrades. At this point, virtually nobody in the series can stand up against him, aside from maybe some of the other demon lords, which we haven't seen him fight yet, except for Milim Nava, and he's definitely stronger than her. Yet despite the overwhelming power gap between Rimuru and nearly all of his adversaries, oftentimes bringing nearly equally powerful individuals to his side, the show is still entertaining, because the focus is not necessarily on the awesome power battles. Those are merely set dressing, whereas the actual focus are the strategies he devises so that his underlings can undertake similar missions and battles, which allows him to overtake kingdoms, including a huge war that should be coming very soon in the anime. The colorful personalities of damn near all of the characters, and of course, the brilliant comedic moments, which almost never fails to make me laugh, or at least chuckle. And then, of course, there's the father of the modern Isekai genre itself, especially those where the characters get trapped into an MMORPG video game, Kirito from Sword Art Online. Now I'm going to be honest here, there's nothing to analyze about Kirito. There could have been if the themes of PTSD from watching all his friends die before him was explored thoughtfully and in a complex manner, but it wasn't, unfortunately. SAO was actually one of my earliest videos, and currently has 294 views at the time of this writing, which isn't half bad considering this is outside of my channel currently. The fights in SAO, especially the ones involving Kirito, are pure adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding fun, plain and simple, and there's nothing wrong with that. With excellent animation, outstanding music, and impressive weight, they almost never fail to entertain me, although I'm starting to think that I'm the last one, to be perfectly honest. And the thing is, these kinds of fight scenes that involve overpowered characters don't even just have to exist in shonen battle anime, manga, or isekai. Fate Zero is one of my favorite anime of all time, with fascinating themes involving clashes of ideology, outstanding animation, spectacular music, interesting and complex characters, and a cool premise, all highlighted by, no joke, some of the best fight scenes in the medium. And while most of the characters you have trouble calling overpowered, as the bulk of them have plenty of strengths to weaknesses to offset their strengths, the one which that might be called overpowered is Gilgamesh, summoned to the Archer class. Gilgamesh is ridiculous. His Gate of Babylon, which allows him to launch at breakneck speeds nameless swords that are almost impossible to dodge and can pierce through nearly anything. And Kidu, chains that can restrain almost any opponent. And Ea, a magical sword that has the ability to destroy the world and distort the fabric of the universe. In Fate Zero, it's seen effortlessly annihilating Ishkandar's entire army and critically wounding the King of Conquerors himself. So severely that it only takes a few more strikes for him to finally go down, without even winding Gilgamesh himself. The only real flaw that Gilgamesh has as a combatant is his arrogance. His arrogance is so great that he refuses to ever use Ea unless he deems his opponent worthy. Ishkandar's Ioinoi Hetairoi was the only stage he deemed worthy to use Ea upon, and Artoria was the only individual opponent he deemed worthy to look upon Ea. It's so bad that when he was forced to use it against Shiro in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, he damn near lost his mind, unwilling to accept the reality of his situation. But that minor drawback aside, I don't think that makes him any less overpowered. It just makes him really dumb and conceited. The fact that still remains that he is unarguably the strongest servant in all of Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. So unarguable that the creator of the universe himself, Kinoko Nasu, actually confirmed so in an interview. And arguably the strongest servant in all of Fate, the only possibly challenged by Karna, one of the two Lancer-class servants summoned in Fate Apocrypha, who was literally a god before being summoned. Gilgamesh was only a demigod. The only reason Gilgamesh didn't kill every master and every other servant in both wars he took part in instantly and win the Holy Grail was because he had no interest in it, merely taking part so he could hopefully find some thrills, which he found in both wars, in Fate Zero through Rider and in Fate Stay Night through Shiro and Saber. What makes him fun to watch is the bombastic nature of his battles, his unique abilities, his gloating, and to see how his arrogance will ultimately be his downfall, which didn't happen in Fate Zero, but did happen in Fate Stay Night. Every example that I presented in this video used music, animation, and interesting or at least cool looking magic systems combined to get my blood hot and flowing, and most of them, the only exception being Sword Art Online in most cases, also having other great aspects on top of the action to keep me coming back, such as interesting, likable, and perhaps even complex characters, and awesome battles of strategy in addition to raw power. And all of these anime, every damn one of them, are also some of the most popular anime that have come out in recent years as well. Overlord, Sword Art Online, Log Horizon, Fate Zero, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime, along with many that I didn't discuss, have gained immense fame. And despite that, overpowered main characters are still unfairly criticized, even though these very anime unarguably have overpowered protagonists. It's always baffled me that this is used as a point of critique when many of these same people love these anime and praise these characters. It's like the nature of these characters is somehow lost on these supposed critics, even though their nature is literally always on full display, as obvious as it could possibly be. It truly makes no sense to me whatsoever that you can enjoy Ainz, even if you hate overpowered characters. He never loses. He never will lose. He is invincible. And you love it. Stop trying to pretend otherwise. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, share it around so it gains more attention, and hit the notification bell if you want to know when I upload next. I'm trying to come back to this channel and give this whole YouTube thing yet another shot again, but I'm not sure exactly when I'll be uploading next, but I do have several video ideas planned for the near future. I'm going to try and get one out at least once a week, but I might do more often than that if I can too. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.